Welcome back. Today we're going to look at a timely word, some interesting science, a song and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, sit back, and let's check it out. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 28th. February 28th is the 59th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 306 days remaining at the end of the year, except for leap years when there are 307 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is synchronicity. Synchronicity is a noun that means the simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. The coincidental occurrence of events, and especially psychic events, such as similar thoughts and widely separated persons, or a mental image of an unexpected event before it happens, that seem related but are not explained by conventional mechanisms of causality. The word synchronicity was created or adapted from the adjective synchronic, which means at the same time, from the roots syn, which means together, and chron, which means time. Synchronic is first noted in 1775, although other forms of the concept are noted earlier. Carl Jung added the suffix icity to synchronic to turn the adjective into a noun, and this is first noted in the 1950s. With that word history in mind, examples of synchronicity may include such phenomena as seeing a word, an image, or a series of numbers repeatedly and looking for meaning in that experience. In a more complex example, imagine that you've had a dream about an old friend, and soon after you encounter that friend in some way. Example sentences using the word synchronicity could be, as she studied the quantum mechanics and Eastern philosophy, she became fascinated by the concept of synchronicity, noticing meaningful coincidences in her daily life. Or, the synchronicity of events leading up to their reunion was uncanny, as if fate had orchestrated the entire encounter. That's synchronicity. And with that, this is the birthday of American chemist, biochemist, chemical engineer, peace activist, author, and educator Linus Pauling, born February 28, 1901. Dr. Pauling became a big proponent of the use of vitamin C for optimal health. Interesting to note that his discoveries inspired the work of James Watson and Francis Crick on the structures of DNA. Dr. Pauling lived to the age of 93. Speaking of Watson and Crick, it was on February 28, 1953, Cambridge University scientists James W. Watson and Francis H.C. Crick announced to friends that they had determined the double helix structure of DNA, the molecule which contains human genes. A formal public announcement would take place later in the year. Occasionally, our own sun will emit clouds of plasma and magnetic fields. These events are known as coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, and vary in strength and effect. We prefer that strong CMEs not be pointed directly at Earth, as they can disrupt our magnetosphere and be disruptive to our electronics. An extreme case of this, known as the Carrington event, took place in 1859 and caused havoc with telegraph lines and systems around the world. We've talked about the Carrington event before, and we certainly don't want anything like that to happen again. CMEs, though, are relatively small events compared to gamma ray bursts, or GRBs. Whereas CMEs come from our own sun, GRBs come from much further away, like distant galaxies. And even though they come from so much farther away, they are incredibly energetic explosions, emitting extremely high-energy gamma rays. Gamma rays are definitely not good for us. Fortunately, most of the time, gamma rays originate from so far away that their impact on Earth is negligible. That said, on February 28, 1997, a flash of gamma rays struck the Earth for a little over a minute, enough for scientists to detect and take note of, but not quite enough to end life as we know it. All this talk about synchronicity, coronal mass ejections, and gamma ray bursts somehow made me think of the song Radar Love by Golden Earring. I thought I'd talked about it before, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so let's talk about it now. Written by George Kooijmans and Barry Hay of the Dutch band Golden Earring, Radar Love was initially released in 1973 in the Netherlands and in the UK, and in 1974 in the US. It's written from the point of view of a man who feels he has a psychic connection with his lover, Radar Love, and he's urgently trying to get home to her. It begins with a driving beat that evokes the feeling of being on the road. I always found it interesting that the lyrics alluded to Brenda Lee's 1966 song Comin' On Strong. Radar Love did well around the world, hitting number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and the top 10 in several other countries. The song has been covered hundreds of times and has been featured in television and films. Radar Love by Golden Earring. Link in the description. This episode was fun to research and to write, and I hope you enjoyed it. As is the current custom, I'd like to leave you with a quote, and today's quote is by author Molly Friedenfeld, who said, "When we realize every moment is sacred, we understand that every footstep is sacred too." Molly Friedenfeld. I'll leave a link to her Amazon author page in case you'd like to explore some of her works. That is an Amazon affiliate link, and I earn on qualifying purchases. Alrighty, as we wrap it up, be good to each other. I wish you the best, and I'll see you next time. Chemical engineer. Okay, hold on. Okay, one more time. All right, hold on. Pardon me while I make a midstream edit. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That playlist lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page. It's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.